on stage are gonna. See, you can see we've got our testing bots there. These aren't the character. We're not showing the character that'll be first. Scythe. This is something that our players have been asking since basically the first new weapon that we did.
Wow.
And we're finally able to deliver. We've been working on it really hard. Again, this is I would say this is what we consider a sketch of our weapons. So we've got the basic functionality is in place. We think we know how it plays. It is probably not balanced at all. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see some terribly sick things out of our competitive players on the show floor. It's also maybe the most exciting thing about the gameplay of the Scythe is it is the first time that we are using active inputs to give variable endings to the same move.
What do you mean by that?
So basically, depending on which direction you are holding after your hit confirm, you can change where the move will take you. So a real simple example is if you're doing a side light and you continue holding side, you will send the character farther away from you. If you're doing side light and after the hit confirm you return to neutral, you will keep them close to continue combos. So you can actually change, yeah. And then things like neutral air, down air, you can actually change whether you're sending them to the right or the left. So depending on where you are on the stage and what you want to set them up for, you can throw that out there. Now again, this is
early
alpha. It's a sketch. It's early alpha, so it's going to be hard to balance that extra flexibility. But we're into it. We like what it's doing. We like what we see out of it, and it'll be awesome to see everybody who came to BCX an added bonus. You get to check this out while we're developing it, and we get to see what people think of that extra, the active input.
So this already seems really entertaining to me from a fighting game standpoint because I love grapplers. And it seems like this is some sort of grappling mechanic because after every hit, at least in this alpha build, you're grabbing them, and as you said, you have an additional input to choose exactly where you want them to go.
Yeah, it can be, from when we've seen internally, when we've seen people really sort of go ham with it, it can be very sort of disorienting for the recipient because they get so much control over where they wind up sending you that you're never really sure which way you're going to go. You know it's going to be one or two different ways, right? You saw him right there, direct him behind him to throw him off instead of bouncing him off the wall. So we are so excited for how this is turning out. And the list of characters that we're coming up with for who's gonna be first on deck is...
I have an idea.
Yeah?
Are you guys gonna? I have a real idea. I won't talk about it if you guys want to listen to me.
We'll listen to you. Yeah, you can hit us up.
Okay, cool. I got a cool idea.
But yeah, we are super happy to be able to actually show this off to people for the first time. So everybody that was out there, we teased it last night. There was a lot of guessing, and everybody who thought it was going to be Scythe, good job on you. And hopefully you'll be able to get the hands on the new character as soon as we're ready with them, which should be after Cross. So this should be not the next character.
So Scythe is coming out right after Cross.
That's the plan.
That's a really short window. That's actually really exciting.
Well, we've been working on it for quite a while.
Okay. I'm pretty excited to be able to even try this, so I'm definitely going to be on the show floor testing this one out.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Ridiculous.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see how many of the competitive players stay focused on the tournament versus checking out the Scythe and having a little bit of fun to relax before they get into their final 8.
They'll probably have to wait until they lose.
Yeah,
because top 8 definitely takes precedent here. Oh, the recovery. I'm really enjoying this. I really want to see. Do you have any leak ideas what you're going to pair the next character with, Scythe and...
Oh, no, we're not leaking that yet. We do have a pretty good idea of what it's going to be.
So
as long as that comes together. Well, we've had a lot of Gauntlet characters, so we've got some good ideas for what the Gauntlet Scythe combo is. But it might... Oh, and the salt! And then the book read. I'm not sure that after you get bodied off the edge, you're going for the
I don't
reads.
think you actually had the reason. What kind of ridiculousness? Early alpha. That was
definitely early alpha. I think TWK said while he was preparing for doing some show off, and I think we'll be showing clips of this throughout the day. So we might get to see. I think TWK said that he found a 0 to death combo with it.
Well,
so we'll make sure all of that is gone by the time it goes live.
I mean, you could just leave it in.
We could. I don't know if
it's difficult.
Like
It's gotta
but
be
this is one of the things that we love doing as a studio. We like showing stuff off as we're doing it to bring people along for the ride, right? Instead of just waiting until everything is 100% done and released. And so this is our first chance that we've had the ability to do this at a venue that is dedicated to us, and I just can't wait to see all the reactions of everybody that came.
This is fantastic. You got to say, I'm super pumped to actually try this out. I mean, I'm still hyped about Cross, first and foremost.
Yep.
I mean, if I'm allowed to talk about Cross.
Oh, yeah,
would you
absolutely.
like to?
Cross is, he's playable on the show floor build, and he'll be released on Wednesday. So he's our mobster who's made a deal with some unsavory types. And he's bringing the gauntlets and blasters to you.
Okay, cool. So he's gauntlets, blasters.
Yep.
And the character right after him will definitely have this scythe in their kit, but we don't know what the other weapon is.
I mean, you don't. I
Okay, I don't know. We at home don't know. We here on the floor don't know. But you red shirts sure do.
But we'll be releasing more news about that as we get closer.
That's pretty exciting. I mean, I'm super pumped about this. I really want to just get on the stage and play it right now. I'm not even that good at this game, but this already has me super excited, especially with like the new chain dodging.
Yep. Well, we've taken all of the stations that were being used for pools yesterday, are now converted over and have access to this. So we should be able to see a lot of play of it. And for us, it's kind of interesting because we don't usually get the opportunity to see real-time reaction from players about weapons that we have that are in development, right? Normally,
wow. That was really cool. I'm just like stunned right now, sadly. I don't know what else to ask. This is really cool to me. Just seeing the whole idea of being able to hit somebody
the head bonk.
and send them to wherever you want.
That's what I was talking about, where you get one of the advantages that the Scythe has right now is you get to throw your opponent off their game a little bit more than some of the other weapons, because I don't think he was expecting getting thrown under the stage, and in reaction to that he kind of overcommitted and wound up head bonking instead of pulling up a little bit. And I think that's
nice.
it's some of the unpredictability that it brings to you. And so hopefully we'll be able to continue making that happen without it being an issue. Because we have to make sure that it's fun to play against, too, right? It's issues of moving your opponent around in control are always very touchy, and so we have to make sure we get just the right amount of that in there. But so far, everything we're seeing is really promising.
I want to play.
Well, we'll get it in your hands for sure. And there's, you can see they do have heavy attacks in here, but none of those are really, they're kind of, we wind up doing very vanilla placeholder special attacks when we're doing the base kit itself. So those, don't really expect to see those on the first character we do. We might, generally they wind up trickling out as we find characters that they fit for. So similar to Cross, you can see the original, actually 2 of the original Blaster specials are on Cross because they fit his character really well, and we've had time to fix the issues that we saw with them early on. And so we'll probably see similar things with the Scythe specials, but the first character, you don't necessarily think of these as indications of where they're going to be going.
I'm actually kind of speechless right now. I'm pretty enveloped in trying to understand the weapon.
It's really fun to play, and it is kind of hard to understand how to get into it first. I won't lie, when I first sat down to play it, it took me a second. It took me more than a second,
okay,
if I'm honest.
More than that.
It took me a couple of days before I started figuring out, okay, this is kind of how it works, and this is how it moves.
Just trying to hook him right into that bomb. It's so cool. I really don't know what to even talk about. Oh, clash.
Nice clash.
Bot clash. This is such a fantastic idea. I'm super excited for the new weapon, especially since
Well-
it has this mechanic.
Yeah, and again, it was it wound up being this sort of perfect confluence of a mechanic idea that we've wanted to do for a while, and we tried a couple different versions of it, but we always want our inputs to be not what is holding you back from mastering the game, right? So we want to find simple inputs, and you have hard decisions to make, and that's what makes you a good player. So it took us a long time to figure out how to get an active input to be natural to do and not difficult. And sort of at the same time we were working on that, you know, players have just been clamoring for Scythe characters. They just, every time we release a new weapon, you know, people get excited, and then they're like, okay, but what about a Scythe? And as we were thinking about, you know, what can we do that pairs up with a Scythe? What should the Scythe feel like? Okay, well, we think, you know, sort of faster moves and grabs and controls, and then we realized that just fit perfectly with the active inputs, and we started layering the two together, and it just worked.
So my question is, what made you guys decide to go with the Scythe right here?
So I think it was just a little bit of timing. Like, we knew the Scythe was going to be on the schedule, and we knew we wanted to do it, and it was always, when will we have the chance to do it? And interestingly enough, one of the questions that we always asked about Scythe was, can we time it with Halloween? Because there's so many characters with Scythe that pair great with Halloween. And we thought about that for a long time, and we really tried to make that work. And there were a couple of times where we considered, okay, well, maybe we should hold off and try to time it right. But then as we started thinking about it more, we were like, nah, we just need to, if it's good and we like it, we need to do it now and not worry about the timing.
That was awesome.
Right? And so it's, you know, it's a little bit after Halloween. But it's worth it. We decided it was just like, once we started seeing the concepts and what the Powers team and the animators had in mind for it, we were like, okay, yeah, we need to not be waiting for this. This is what we need to do.
It's not even about the timing, it's about how the animations work and how the balance itself is working. If it's fun to play against, all the different tweaks and balances you need to make sure that it's a fun weapon.
That's right. And every single time, again, like I can't stress enough how much we care about community input, and we listen to what they're interested in. And every single time we come up with new weapons, we say, okay, what about Scythe? What about Scythe? So there's a list for all of you out there that thought maybe it was going to be the Scythe. Like, I know Klunz was saying he thought it was going to be the Scythe, but he was interested in. There's another set of weapons that he was looking for first. For everybody that's out there that is looking for the next weapon, and don't worry, it's on a list. We're listening, and we're just trying to figure out how and when to do it.
Oh, so we're ahead in the pipeline. So this is considered done by you guys, and you're already looking at the next piece.
Always we're looking at what's the weapon that comes after this. We try to do about 2 weapons a year.
Okay.
And so, you know, the discussion is not when will we want to do another weapon. The discussion is always, what do we want the next weapon to do? Like, what's the right one?
What makes it different from the current weapons we already have?
Right.
And what makes it fun? Oh, this looks so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty great.
Oh my God.
There again, there's another, you know, switching it up. Oof.
The control that this weapon has just seems so ridiculous. Look at that. Tried to read the dodge there. Nope. I need to play this. I really do.
Well, hopefully that's what everybody is saying at home, too. And it won't be too long before you'll be able to get into it.